over the past decade from 2014 to 2024, Indonesian economic indicators, including inflation and unemployment, have fluctuated due to both domestic and global factors. Inflation peaked in 2015 at 8.4% due to soaring food and fuel price, but has since moderated to a more stable range, hovering between 3 to 4% in recent years, with 2023 marking a rate of 4.2%. This relative stability in inflation is a result of effective monetary policies by Bank Indonesia, as well as measures to manage fuel subsidies and food price volatility. On the other hand, Indonesian unemployment rate has shown a steady decline over the past decade. In 2015, the unemployment rate was at a high of 7.4%, reflecting the impact of slower economic growth and the global commodity price slump. However, by 2023, the unemployment rate had decreased to 5.5%, a sign of the country's recovery, particularly after pandemic-induced economic contraction. Despite this improvement, Indonesia continues to face significant challenges with youth unemployment, which remains disproportionately high, and underemployment, where many individuals work in the informal sector or in jobs that do not fully utilize their skill, posing ongoing barriers to sustainable economic development. Hi, I want to ask you some question. What does inflation mean in simple terms, and how do you think economics define it?
I think definition according to prominent economist Milton Friedman, inflation is primarily caused by an increase in the money supply that outpaces economic growth. Other than that, by Austrian school, inflation is seen as a product of artificially low interest rates that lead to an unsustainable boom in credit and speculative investment, which eventually causes prices to rise in once the business bubble bursts.
Can I know what type of inflation?
There are two types of inflation, which is demand-pull inflation and cost-push inflation. The demand-pull inflation occurs when demand for goods and services exceeds supply in the economy. While demand increases, the supply of goods and services available for purchase may remain the same or drop. Next, cost-pull inflation is a situation where the cost of goods and services rise as consumers have more money to spend. This happens when people make more money and want to buy different things than before, causing prices for goods and services to go up.
Oh, thank you. Hi, Assalamualaikum.
Hi, and Waalaikumsalam.
What is the main drivers of inflation in Indonesia from 2014 to 2024?
For your information, in 2014, Indonesia inflation was very high at 8.36%. This was caused by rising food prices, higher transportation costs, and fuel subsidy cuts. The weak rupiah also made imports more expensive. And for 2015, inflation dropped to 6.38%, helped by lower global oil and food prices. And for 2019, inflation fell to 3.02% due to stable oil prices, a stronger rupiah, and government policies like interest rate cuts, and food prices also become more stable. And in 2017, inflation rose slightly to 3% because of higher food prices, but the rupiah stays stable, keeping import costs under control. And for 2018, inflation is to 3.13%. Oil prices and the rupiah was stable, and the government managed food production and distribution more better. And for 2019, inflation dropped further to 2%, which is 2.72%, thanks to stable global prices and improved logistics. And for 2020, inflation fell sharply to 1.56% due to the pandemic, which is COVID-19. Low demand and cheaper oil reduced prices. Auto, food and healthcare costs rise slightly because of COVID-19. And for 2021, inflation rose to 1.87% as the economy recovered after the pandemic and demand increased, but supply chain issue keep prices from rising too much. And for 2020, inflation jumped to 5.51%, driven by high global energy and food prices from the Russia-Ukraine war. Do you know about that?
Yes, I know about it.
And for 2023, inflation is to 3.71%. Government policies, improving supply chains, and a stable rupiah help control the prices for goods. And for 2024, inflation is expected to stay between 3% and 4%. Subsidies are better. Global conditions should help. To rise risks like geopolitical tension could still cause issues. So that's all for inflation.
Thank you for your information. Thank you, Risa.
Thank you.
Hi.
Hi.
Can I ask you one question?
Of course.
What do you think are the most effective ways to control inflation in economy like Indonesia?
I think monetary policy, supply side intervention, and improving supply chain is the most effective way to control inflation.
How do you think monetary policy can be used to reduce inflation in Indonesia?
Okay, monetary policy has three types. First is the interest rate. Central bank can raise rate to slow inflation by reducing spending or lower them to boost economy activity when the inflation is too low. For the second one is inflation targeting. Central bank set a clear inflation goal to get expectation and stabilize prices. And for the last one is threatening currency. Stronger currency reduce the cost of import, helping to ease inflation.
What specific supply side intervention do you think Indonesia should implement to boost economic?
Okay, for the boost domestic production, encourage local industry to expand and increase production capacity, helping to lower prices. And for the agriculture productivity, invest in better farming technique to lower food prices, especially in developing countries. And for the last one is diversifying suppliers, reduce reliance on a few suppliers to avoid price volatility and hostage.
For the last one, what do you think are the most effective solution for improving supply chain efficiency in Indonesia?
I think improving supply chain is the most effective way for your questions because we had logistic investment where enhanced transportation and infrastructure such as road, ports to reduce costs and lower product prices. And for the second one, we had a combat monopolies where we can promote competition to prevent price manipulation and stabilize costs. For the last one, we also have support for SMEs. This can help small businesses access market to increase competition and reduce prices. That's it.
Thank you for your explanation.
Thank you.
What is the definition of unemployment?
The definition of unemployment, according to prominent economists by John Maynard Keynes, is unemployment occurs when aggregate demand in the economy is insufficient to employ all workers willing to work at the prevailing wage rates. Next, by Arthur Cecil Pigo, is unemployment exists when individuals who are willing to work at a prevailing wage rate cannot find a job. And by Joseph, is unemployment arises due to inefficiencies in the labour market, such as asymmetric information and market failures.
What is the type of unemployment?
There are many types of unemployment, such as frictional unemployment, cyclical unemployment, seasonal unemployment, technological, structural, natural, and classical unemployment.
Can you explain some of type briefly?
Okay, so for frictional unemployment is a type of short-term unemployment that occurs when workers look for new employment or transition out of old jobs and into new ones. It is a form of unemployment reflecting the gap between voluntarily leaving a job and finding another. And for cyclical unemployment is a type of unemployment that rises during recession and falls during economic expansion. It is caused by fluctuation in the economy, such as business cycles. When the economy is at its peak or experiences continuous growth, the rate of cyclical employment is low. And the last one is seasonal unemployment. Describe a situation where workers are unemployed at certain times of the year when demand has decreased. Although unemployment is always problematic, seasonal unemployment does not last. Eventually, the peak season of a given industry arrives and many workers become employed once again.
Thank you for giving me more explanation.
Thank you.
What do you think were the key factors driving the fluctuation in Indonesia unemployment rate from 2014 to 2024?
Okay, so in 2014, Indonesia unemployment rate was 5.92%. The economy was grew steadily, driven by domestic consumption and export, but job creation struggled to keep up with the growing workforce. In 2015, the rate increased to 8.18% due to slower economic growth and falling commodity price, which hurt industries like mining and agriculture. And in 2016, unemployment dropped to 5.61% as the economy stabilized, boosted by infrastructure project and higher construction. So issues like skill mismatches remain. And by 2017, the rate fell further to 5.33% as the economy grew steadily with strong domestic consumption and investment. And in 2018, the rate stayed stable at 5.34%. The economy grew, but structural problems like mismatched skills limited job creation. And in 2019, unemployment dropped slightly to 5.28%, and thanks to stable growth and increased foreign investment. So youth unemployment and regional disparities were still challenges. And in 2020, unemployment surged to 7.07% because of COVID-19, which is pandemic, which caused mass layoff, especially in tourism, retail, and informal sectors. In 2021, the rate improved to 6.26% with government support and businesses reopening, but recovery was slow and many workers were still displaced. By 2022, unemployment fell to 5.83% as business recover, though some sector took longer to bounce back and job quality issue remain. And in 2023, the rate dropped further to 5.29%, supported by economic stability, infrastructure growth, and a recovery in tourism and retail. But however, younger workers and graduates still face challenges due to lack of skill. And lastly, for 2024, unemployment is estimated to be around 5 to 5.3%. Growth in infrastructure, digitalization, and green initiative is expected to create job. So global factor for equal impact export-driven industry. So that's all from me.
Okay, thank you for your explanation.
Thank you.
What solution would you propose to reduce the unemployment rate in the country?
There's a three solution that the best way to reduce unemployment in Indonesia, and I think addressing skill mismatch, promoting entrepreneurship, and investing in infrastructure is the best way.
How can Indonesia implement more effective upskilling and reskilling program for workers who have been displaced by technology and changes in the economy?
So many people struggle to find job because their skill don't match what employers need. So to fix this, we can invest more in vocational and technical education that focus on practical skill for specific industry. By doing this, students can graduate with abilities that are in demand. Additionally, school and businesses can work together to create training programs or internship, making it easier to graduate to find job.
What measure can the government take to reduce the main barriers to entrepreneurship in Indonesia?
Okay, starting new businesses can create more jobs actually, especially for young people and small businesses. To help, we can provide financial support like small loan or grants, making it easier for them to get started. Mentorship program can also guide entrepreneurs in emerging fields such as green energy technology, helping them succeed and grow their businesses.
For the last one, what steps should the Indonesian government take to ensure that infrastructure investment are sustainable and have a long-term positive impact on the Indonesian economy?
In many rural areas, people struggle to find jobs because of poor infrastructure, like bad roads, limited transport, or no electricity. By improving this facility, actually we can help businesses grow and create jobs locally. Additionally, creating special economic zone where companies get benefit like tax break can attract investors to set up businesses in the area, offering more job opportunities to local people.
Thank you for your explanation.
In conclusion, Indonesia has faced significant inflation fluctuation over the past decade, influenced by domestic policies and global factors. After peak in 2014 and 2022, inflation is expected to remain moderate in 2024, supported by a stable rupiah and improving supply chain. Unemployment, which surged during the COVID-19 pandemic, has decreased to pre-pandemic levels, with further stabilization expected by 2024. However, challenges like skills mismatch and underemployment remain. Addressing this requires targeted policies such as vocational training, infrastructure development, and investment in human capital to foster sustainable economic growth and stability.